Hey friends, how are you? Hope you're well. Sorry I haven't videoed for the last couple of weeks, but um I don't know if you saw my little get that ready. I did a little quick short. I came down a fortnight ago with a sinus infection. It's still here a wee bit, and I was on really strong antibiotics. My voice dropped big style. And as you can hear, it's still around a bit, but it has absolutely floored me. I am so tired. I kind of, sleeping more than I normally do anyway with my ME, but that's fine. And I just didn't have the energy to make a video or to talk about books. I did read. I managed to read, which was good. But talking about books and just talking in general was really, really hard because I just kept coughing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of wrap you, tell you what I've read over the last 8 days, and I've actually read 6 books, so I am well chuffed with that. Last night I finished reading, or listening I should say, to The Hope Chest by Carolyn Brown. I used one of my Audible credits to get that a while ago actually, and just never got around to listening to it. But with feeling so rough, I felt at night it was better to listen to a book than to try and read. I really enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was hard hitting. Some of it was hard listening to at times. So we meet 3 cousins. We meet April, Nessa, and Finn. Now, their grandmother, Nana Lucy, has died and has, in her will, has said that the three cousins must finish this quilt that she'd started in order to gain their inheritance. And the inheritance is the hope chest that this quilt goes into. There's something in there as well, plus the property, Nana Lucy's property. So the cousins come together and they live in the house, but the cousins all have different issues. April lived with Nana Lucy when she was younger, and it was not a happy childhood. It really wasn't, for various reasons. And we later find out that we think that Nana Lucy was actually bipolar. So, April had a really tough time because Nana Lucy would beat her, etc., etc. So there was a bit about child abuse, which was hard listening to. I have to say, it was not a nice listen. We then have Nessa, whose father is supremely religious, and she doesn't want any part of it. She doesn't want to be like that, and she wants to have her own life, but he's trying to push her to do things. So she's hoping that the house will be an escape in many ways. And Finn wants to get away from his womanizing ways. He sees what he's like. He feels he's so like his father, but he doesn't want to be like that. So as the 3 cousins work their way to making this quilt, they talk about the summers they had, because they'd all get together in the summer at Nana Lucy's, and they would talk about that, the things that they remember, which was lovely. It was really nice to get the reminisce about that part. But then they would also start talking about their own life story, where they've been, what they've done, and they cleared out various bits of the house, and they found more of Nana's backstory. So it sort of helped to start explain things. It was really well written. I really did enjoy it, but again, there was some trigger warnings, for things like abuse and psychological illness, womanizing, things like that, which did make it kind of hard at times to listen to. But I'm glad I read it through. This was my first Carolyn Brown. I think I will definitely be reading more of hers. I then read, hold on a minute, I grab it, she says, twisting around. I then read Home Sweet Christmas by Charlee James. Really enjoyed this. This is by Tool Publishing. We meet pastry chef Kayla, and Kayla's grandparents run the Candy Manor, which is a Victorian house in the local town that has a chocolate business. Now, Kayla, since a little child, has always wanted to run this business. But realised that when her grandparents are due to retire, that this is basically their inheritance money, and she doesn't want to take it. So she has gone off on her own and has made a career for herself as a pastry chef. But she has worked to the bone, and the hotel she works in are not very understanding. I mean, she comes home for a fortnight to help her grandparents prepare for the Christmas Eve spectacular, and like the hotel are on the phone like every day, multiple times a day. But her grandparents are wanting to move to Florida, and they've seen this condo, but they don't want to leave Kayla on her own to deal with all the prep, even though there are staff that work for them. So they ask their local lawyer, Dominic, if he will help, which he duly agrees to do. And the story is of both of them setting up the manor for Christmas, like doing all the Christmas things, like decorating the house, going and getting trees, decorating the trees. They make chocolate and all of this. And the more they're there, and the more that Kayla's in the manor, is the more she wants to have the manor. But again, she doesn't want to take her grandparents' inheritance away. So there's that conflict, but her grandparents want her to have the manor, but neither party are saying anything, but Dominic knows what both parties want. It was really well written. I really enjoyed it. I liked this of the tension in some ways, but I also enjoyed the joy that they had, both Kayla and Dominic, of doing the Christmas things and doing other things together, like sledging and stuff like that. It was just so lovely, and it's a book that I will definitely read more by this author. I've never read her before, and this was a fantastic start. So thoroughly enjoyed that one. I think I gave that one 4 out of 5 as well. I then read Deadly Days of Christmas by Carla Cassidy. This was a Harlequin intrigue, or Mills and Boone Heroes, whichever one you want to call it. I really enjoyed this. We meet the local sheriff, Mac, and he's a hard-working sheriff, and one night his dispatcher gets a call saying, "I've left a dead body in the town square," and that's all they get. So the lady that is his dispatcher, I cannot remember her name, I think it's Cassie. She is a fully qualified deputy, but for some reason she hasn't been made a deputy. But she goes with him, and he agrees to help. He agrees to let her be an unenrolled deputy at the moment to solve this murder. But there's something strange about this body. And then a couple of days later, another body is discovered. And again, there's something strange about this body. And I'm not going to say what it is, but it's something to do with a Christmas song. And they have sort of 3 or 4 men that they think are the possible murderers. And it's the story of the investigation, how they work things out, and the growing attraction between Mac and Cassie. It was really brilliantly done. I mean, it was a page turner. I was like, I couldn't read this quickly enough, because the storyline was so gripping. I'd worked out the storyline. I worked out the song. I kind of knew in my head was, oh, I know what that is. So I knew kind of the story, where this song, what each thing was going to be, with the body, so that was fine. But I didn't work out who the murderer was till it was revealed at the end. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a fantastic, easy read. I think this is my first Carla Cassidy, and definitely my last, because I thoroughly enjoyed it. I then read Uncovering Colton's Family Secrets by Linda O. Johnston. This was another 5 out of 5. Again, another big quick page turner. This was another intrigue heroes story. my mind has gone blank. Excuse me 1 minute. I knew I had the books. So there's the Deadly Days of Christmas and Uncovering Colton's Family Secrets. So, in the second one, we meet Maddie, who has gone to a local town to her to choose her wedding dress. But while there, she sees somebody that looks suspiciously like her older brother, but isn't. And she's like, is that my dad? But she's been told her father has been dead for numerous years. But she doesn't, she's like so intrigued that she goes back the following week and actually follows the man. And she ends up being arrested for jaywalking by this marshal. And she's like, why am I being arrested by a marshal for jaywalking? And then she ends up actually meeting the man to discover, yes, he is her father, but her father's on witness protection. So we get the story of why her father's on witness protection. But then, as the marshal is driving her home, somebody tries to shoot them. So the marshal's job then switches from protecting her father, because he calls other marshals in to do that, to protecting her and trying to work out why she's been shot at. Again, really fast paced, great characters, great plotline, superb plotline. I really liked the way that you were taken through the process of like her being protected and then trying to work out who was wanting her dead, etc., etc. I really did enjoy it. I thought it was really good. And also I liked the way that, you know, once her mother and her brother and sister found out that her father was still alive, I liked the dynamic that brought in. Them all trying to come to terms with actually, wow, you are alive, and you know, what is this going to do to the family dynamic now? How are we going to cope with all of this? Really well written, and definitely another author that is new and I will be reading more of. I told you I managed to read a lot while I was ill. Then I read Smooth Talking Texan by Catherine Garbera. I am not going to say much about this book. In fact, I'm not going to say anything about this book. Not because I gave it a 5-star. It's because I'm using this book as my book for my Book and a Bake episode this month. So I will get a full review of that book in a couple of days' time. And then yesterday I had the house to myself and I just spent the day reading, and I finished Round Robin by Jennifer Chiaverini. This is the second of the Elm Creek Quilters series, and I absolutely adored it. I'd read the first one last month, and then I read the second one. I'm reading it as a buddy read with a friend over on Instagram, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I really like the fact that we learned more about the characters. We got more in depth about them, especially a couple of the characters, far more in depth than you would have got than we had in the first book. I liked the fact that we saw more of the quilting setup, and I really don't want to give much away because it is, you know, it's a series that you do need to read them in order, I would think. And I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but if you know, it was just, if you like a book with a really lovely cast of characters that are all friends, that they have their differences but they work them out and they're there for each other all the time, no matter what. They are there for each other and they will support each other, help each other, face whatever they have to face in the world. It was just so beautiful. It actually made me want to pick up some fabric and do some quilting, I have to say. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to definitely carry on with that series. The last book I'm going to talk about, I'm actually part of the way through. I am reading it on my Kindle. It is the E-Arc of Vanishing Type by Ellery Adams. This is another book of A Secret Book and Scone Society. series. I'm really enjoying it. I'm not going to say much about it because I will be doing a full review on it, but I think I'm about three-quarter or about half of the way through it. So I should finish that this weekend. I don't see any reason why I won't. So that's kind of what I've been reading over the last couple of weeks while I've been coughing and well, in between my coughing and my sleeping and everything else. So yeah, it's been a very good start to the month, I have to say. As I say, I will be reading the Cozy Mystery this weekend. If I finish that, what am I going to pick up? To tell you the truth, I don't know. I will just I keep looking at my TBR shelf or my TBR pile behind me, and it is, yeah. I'm not really doing very well with, this, I said I was not going to buy any books until I'd read X amount on my on my TBR pile, my physical one. That's gone out the window. And the point is, I've been watching videos, YouTube videos the last couple of weeks, and I've taken a note of about 5 books I want to buy. And I'm like, oh, come on. But then, do you think I should just go buy them, folks? What would you do if you... Okay, here's a question for you. This might be posing a question for you for the weekend. If you know there are books you want to buy, but you know that you've got a TBR pile that's quite high, would you go buy the books anyway? Or would you use them as like a little carrot dangled at the end of a stick going, right, okay, if you read X number of books from your TBR pile, you can buy 1 of them or 2 of them? Or is it for every book that you buy... Or for every book that you read, you get to buy a book? What would you do? Please let me know down in the comments down below. I'd really like to know. But that's it for this video. Please also let me know down in the comments what books you've read recently. Have you read any of the books I've mentioned? And what did you think of them? Are there any books that you think I should read? Again, I'm more than happy for recommendations down in the comments. My plans for the weekend, apart from reading, there's rugby. It's European Champions and Challenge Cup games this weekend, so definitely be watching that. Reading and just taking it easy. As I say, this sinus infection has really walloped me big style. It wasn't COVID. I just kept doing the tests and I was coming up negative, so it isn't COVID, but I'm just absolutely walloped, guys. Please let me know your weekend plans in the comments. But until my next video, friends, stay safe and happy reading. Bye.